Big up, guys. Big up, guys. Welcome to the Buzz. Obviously, this FA Cup third round special, and apologies for it being a bit delayed once again. Still having problems with the Wi-Fi a little bit, and so I wasn't sure if I'll be able to get this on or not and do this, come on with this, but thankfully I can. But hopefully, I just hope there's no issues. Won't be lagging or slow or freezing or anything, but hopefully not, but we'll see. But anyway, we'll carry on. There's a lot to talk about. Obviously, a lot of one or two upsets, as we know. One of them involving my team. Maybe we are definitely a Premier team now, aren't we? We're involved in a cup upset. It's happened to other teams in the past, hasn't it? So I suppose why not us now? One of them involves my guest as well in the past. Big upset, and his team, unfortunately, as well, went out yesterday. I'll bring him on and we'll chat about that a little bit as well. And plenty of other stuff. But I'll bring him on now, Mr. T. Be up to you, my friend. How you doing? Good evening to you, sir.
Pretty good, thank you, good sir. And looking forward to the stream. We do have a lot to discuss, including a topic which obviously has been very, very heated, given the circumstances taking place in that particular game. But obviously, first things first, we've got to once again drown our sorrows and just talk about, how horrible our teams were on the. And it's kind of interesting, really, because back in the day when you were obviously in the lower leagues, you probably would have had your own share of cup sets against bigger teams, and now it's kind of a little bit ironic you're on the receiving end of that. But that's the beauty of the FA Cup. It swings and roundabouts. Every team has their day, and it's always. That's one of the reasons why we love it. There's so much romance and intrigue about it. And Warren, obviously, in the chat, will know a lot more about the ecstasy and agony of the FA Cup just as much as anyone else, having been a fan of Arsenal longer than me, probably long before I was even born, I would say. So good evening to you, Warren. And obviously, talking points ready, courtesy of our dear friends from The Guardian. Do fire away, Mr. B.
Yeah, sure, man. Sure, my friend. Right, I'm just going to go through it. I might just put that, you're not going to put that link in there and just see maybe Warren might come on if he's available, if he's free. Like to hear his opinions, especially about Arsenal. I'm sure he'll give a lot about that, and I'm sure you will. And I'll put it in here anyway, quickly, before I do this. Just doing that now. And I'm sure he'd like to come on and vent his anger and rage. And it's right there, the link for you, especially Warren or anyone else that wants to come on. Jordan, be up to you, my friend. Liverpool through. Yeah, hey, Steve. Yeah, you're facing the team that knocked us out, Plymouth, Liverpool. So, good luck. I wonder if Plymouth could do it again. Could lightning strike again. And not the big fellas out like Liverpool. Oh, that'd be a real shock. Yeah, I've been raging for, what's that, two something there. Yeah, be up to you, Kev, as well. Kev Flavin. Evening, lads. Is Arteta in trouble? Is looking likely another trophyless year for Arsenal. Yeah, exactly. I think it could be. But, I mean, obviously, I'll just read this. I know Warren is on here as well, and I'll bring him on very soon. I'm coming for the Brentford Liverpool preview on your channel. Yeah, okay, Jordan. Yeah, no worries, bro. That's obviously next week, obviously, at some stage. But get all this out of the way first, bro. So, no worries, man. But I'll just get on with this. And Right, 10 talking points on the weekend's third round action. And United are fighting for Amorim is the top one. Ruben Amorim's 3-4-3 tactics have little place in English football, it was said. Recent Manchester United performances at the resurrected Harry Maguire in tandem with Lisandro Martinez and Matthias de Ligt suggest it can work, if with sufficient energy in midfield to protect the trio. Manuel Ugarte and Kobe Mainu offer that, and the wing play of Alejandro Garnacho in setting up Bruno Fernandes' goal. So you have to use the term, it's Portuguese, Fernandes, as Kenny would say, Fernandes. Goal plus Amad Diallo's raiding runs at the Emirates Stadium suggest the framework of a team. Penalty hero Altay Bayinda, what a game he had by India. I think that's how you say it. The name, what a game.
Yeah, Bayinda.
Game he had, that goalie. Amazing. Revealed he is a capable goalkeeper, a possible cult hero. There are complications. The club's finances, chickens of the Glazer ownership now coming home to roost, may trigger selling pure profit youth products like Garnacho and Mainu to fund recruitment. There are significant miles to travel, but the previous weekend's draw at Anfield and this 10-man heist at Arsenal are signs of a motivated team playing for their manager, closely following instructions. About time too. Arsenal 1, Man United 1, and of course 5-3 United on penalties. Sorry to tell you and remind you there, Manny. And of course Warren, who I'm going to bring on now as well. So, which way you gents want to fire first with this and rant about this game?
Guess first, Warren, fire away. And good evening, by the way.
You want me to go?
Yeah, man. Yeah, go for
Please,
it.
yes.
Well, I mean, this is a recurring theme, isn't it, with this manager? Right. I can't remember the last time we got past the fourth round. I think we've now gone out in the third round 3 out of the last 4 seasons. It's not acceptable. Do you know what I mean? There's teams in the National League that get further than what we do. This man has got to go. The board have got to go for allowing it to happen. The owners have got to go. At the end of the day, they are the ones that appointed him, right? And so the question has to be asked, why did they appoint someone who had no experience? This is the third biggest football club in England, right?
Yeah.
So why are they appointing a novice? And this has been a shit show from day one. We are no nearer, after spending £700 million, we're no nearer winning a major trophy than the day that he was appointed. In fact, I think we've gone backwards. It is unbelievable the amount of money that this guy has had to spend, and he's wasted about 90% of it. 90% of that £700 million has been wasted. You look at the players they've got in that squad. 90% of them aren't good enough. It is shocking. Year on year on year, continually failing all the time to win trophies or to win titles. It's not good enough. I'm sorry, but it's with that sort of money behind him, Arsenal should have been absolutely ripping this league to pieces. It's just outrageous. I just can't understand why it is that these people are still backing this absolute nonsense. It's never, ever going to deliver anything. The owners need to go, mate. It's simple as that. I want to remind everyone what the owners said when they bought the club. What Josh Kroenke said when he bought the club. I did not Josh, Stan said it. I did not buy this club to win trophies. So my question to him would be, why did you buy the club then? This is sport. It's a competitive. It's about competition and winning and losing. And we seem to be doing more losing than winning, in my opinion. It's just not acceptable, mate. How can you buy a football club and say, yeah, I didn't buy it to win trophies? The whole point of a football club is to win trophies, is it not?
Yep, it sure is.
So, I just find it absolutely outrageous that this nonsense is still going on. The manager, I'll just quickly go through the manager, right? He's won one FA Cup in the time he's been here. He's upset enough players and had rucks with enough players for me to build a starting 11 and a bench with about 7 or 8 players on it. That's nearly 20 players that he's fallen out with since he's been manager at this club. Right? Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. The reason that Aubameyang got outed of the club was because he went to look after his sick mum who'd had a stroke in France. He came back on time, I hasten to add, and when he got back into the club, the manager made it look like he was late. So there was a massive ruck between the two of them, and Arteta turned around and said to him that he'd let him down and betrayed him. So the manager, Aubameyang, decked him. I don't blame him. I would have kicked the man in the fucking head and stamped on it. The man's an absolute cunt. He's fucking evil, and I want that cunt out of my phone. Kieran Tierney, right? His best friend died. Yet he wouldn't give him time off and didn't give him any support. Treats him like shit. It's a fucking disgrace. Look at the way he treated Pepe. Look at the way he's treating Lisandro Trossard. Trossard's refusing to sign up to a new deal because of this fucking manager. And all this business about all these fucking supposed injuries, I don't fucking believe a word of it. Right? I reckon most of those injuries is a smoke screen so that he's able to freeze his players out of the squad, right? So he doesn't have to give answers about what's going on with why they're not getting game time. Ben White, I don't believe that he's injured at all. I just don't believe it. Saka, he's fucking destroyed Saka. And the other question I've got is about his coaching. How many players in that squad has he improved since he's been in the manager of this club? Look at fucking Emi Martinez as well. The best goalkeeper in the world. He's won the goalkeeper's equivalent, the Ballon d'Or. And he outed him. He thought Bernd Leno was better. What is wrong with this man? His judgment is shocking. The way he treats people is shocking. His coaching is shocking. His ability to motivate a team, his tactical awareness, shocking. No matter every single metric you can think of, he has failed miserably. He's got to go. And the owners have got to go for allowing it to continue because they're just absent without leave. They've got their hands off the wheel. He's allowed to do whatever he wants and get away with it. It's a disgrace, mate. It is shocking. And another thing, Liam Brady, one of our greatest ever player, in my opinion. When he was managing the academy, when the American owners bought the club, They went down to see him and started trying to tell him how to do his job. These people ain't got a clue about football. They don't know nothing about developing youth players. And this is they're telling this to a guy who produced Emil Smith-Rowe, Bukayo Saka, and numerous other players have gone on to play top-level football in the Premier League. How dare they? It is outrageous what is going on at this club. It really is. It stinks. And I'm sick of it, mate. Sorry I've gone on for a while, but
No worries,
I'm
mate.
fuming. I'm absolutely fuming. I'm telling you now, if I saw him in the street, I'd go and punch his fucking lights out. Because I fucking hate him with a passion. I'm not one of these people who turns around and goes, oh, I've got nothing against him. Well, I fucking have. Because he's held this club back. It's not acceptable, mate. Not on any fucking level.
Yeah, I hear you, buddy. I hear you. And well, there is something about Arteta that makes me sort of fucking wish I could punch his lights out, same as you, mate. And I'm a B supporter. I'm not really an Arsenal fan, but he's an absolute prick. As far as
He's just fucking arrogant as well. That's the other thing. He thinks he's the fucking bee's knees. Right? Pardon the pun. But he fucking ain't. And as far as your club's concerned, that fucking shit show the other day against Plymouth Argyle, mate, fucking hell, that's outrageous.
Yeah, well,
Someone needs to be asked serious questions about that, because that's something else that's not acceptable.
Yeah, I'm going into that again. Don't worry, and I'm going to fucking go on one as well, mate. When I go into that, don't worry. I've had enough of it as well.
But they're bottom of the fucking championship, Mr. B, and you're pushing to get in European places in the Premier League. What the fuck's going on?
I know. I wish I knew, mate. That's the question I'm asking. What the fuck is going on there? Why are we losing against the bottom of the championship fucking team? You know, why? How? How is this going? Ain't won a game since November last year.
Yeah, well, a lot of that's Rooney, isn't it?
Yeah, mate. And I thought, oh, fucking hell, you know, this ain't good enough. And I know it's bad at your club, and I'm sure Manny would agree with what you just said as well. So what's your opinions, Manny?
Well, now you know the reason I wanted Warren to speak, because I don't know what it is about him, but he seems to know almost everything about the ins and outs of Arsenal and all of the murky goings on than practically anyone else. And all I can say is I applaud him for that. And there are so many insights to Arteta that have made me despise him. It's funny, for example, that Warren mentioned Emi Martinez. And I'm sorry to have to say this, Steve, because I know that he was a big star for you lot. But David Raya's performance in the penalty shootout, diving the wrong way every time, diving before the ball was even kicked. I mean, this is one of the things which I can't really stand. It's one thing to sort of, put out these performances in certain games and have people drooling over your ability, but when you needed to step it up when the situation is dire, you completely flop. And he flopped. He was literally flopping to the ground before the ball was even kicked. And I think Rich is talking about it here. Arteta blaming the ref 1 hour against 10 men. And Rich, mate, you're absolutely right. And I'm surprised that Warren hasn't mentioned this, but the excuses that he puts out are absolutely disgusting. And that's another reason why, fans like Warren and myself and, Dell and others, we see through him. And I always say that you can't serve us rubbish and call it a roast dinner. I'm sorry to say that. And, we sold Emi Martinez, who, of course, as Warren mentioned, became the best goalkeeper in the world. And we replaced him with guys who also flopped horribly in penalty shootouts. And this chap Martinez happens to be the best penalty shootout goalkeeper in world football today. Just look at his record, for Pete's sake. Mainly for Argentina, but for Aston Villa also in the Conference League quarterfinals. he was the man, although he might have been a bit of a pork chop, but he stepped up when it mattered. When you step up your performances in the big occasion when your team needs you to do so, that sets you apart as someone truly special. And that is why I hated Arteta for getting rid of Martinez, and that was the beginning of my hatred for him, because we'll all remember he had a 15th at one point, and Leno was making some horrible mistakes. And I told myself, if as a manager you aren't willing to pick on merit and it's jobs for the boys, that's when I lose respect for you. And even Warren's friend Diesel Arsenal has said it too. The man in possession of the jersey has got to keep it. And, you know, we put obviously as well, Arteta's going to talk about the injuries that have affected us. But as Warren said perfectly, he's ruined Saka. And we have some other idiots, and an absolute arsewipe, pardon my language, please. This arsewipe by the name of Kino, who writes a blog called She Wore a Yellow Ribbon. An absolutely disgusting piece of pro-Arteta propaganda. Consider the Soviet Union's old Pravda back in the day, except everything is talking about how everything is hunky-dory, how Arteta's the best manager since sliced bread, and another narrative that Unai Emery left an absolute mess when he got sacked and we were looking dysfunctional. And even now, you still have some idiots, other arsewipes on Twitter saying the same thing. But, you know, he's ruined Bukayo Saka. And this idiot Kinos, I remember wrote an article saying that we have to get used to Saka playing every single game if he wants to be the best. But I'm sorry, no. When you are a young player and Saka is still young, a manager has a responsibility to know when and how to play such young players, and when and how to rest them. That's what Alex Ferguson did with Ryan Giggs. And that's partly why Giggs was able to enjoy such, you know, a long and successful and illustrious career with Manchester United. Obviously, since then, he's made the headlines for, you know, and very sinister reasons. So I don't want to, you know, praise him too much. But then, as a manager, you've got to protect your best assets. Arteta has miserably failed. And now we're facing the prospect of not seeing Saka play for the remainder of the season, because according to some sources, that injury he sustained, that hamstring injury, is very serious indeed. I mean, it's as if the muscle was completely detached from the bone. And that's going to require many, many months of surgery and rehab. So he's picked this team in an attempt to try to bridge the gap. And that team has just not really been able to perform well in recent times. And yesterday, you know, they flattered to defeat. And a lot of people were complaining to me as well that when Arsenal were playing, they were looking for far too many fouls. And, you know, Kai Havertz thought himself as vintage Tom Daly, diving everywhere. I mean, to be honest, he was more Eddie the Eagle Edwards, to be honest. I'm sure you boys remember him.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
But, you know, that penalty should never have been given. And although Diogo Dalot probably did deserve to get a sending off, because you can't, that was poor footballing judgment, especially when you're on a yellow card. I don't think there was very too much in that tackle for him to be given a second yellow, but still, you know, you sometimes have to say that footballers have to be smart. But then they were down to 10 men. We equalised not too long afterwards. We got undeserved penalty, and Odegaard once again. Oh God, the less said about that bloke, the better.
I thought it was a great save, though. Great save.
What do you say?
By Bayindir. Brilliant save.
Yeah, a brilliant save, and he deserved that moment of redemption following that League Cup disaster against the old enemy, our old enemy, that is. But still, how do you take a penalty like that? And the less said about Havertz, the better, because if he wasn't belly flopping all over the pitch, he was missing chances left, right, and centre. And when he missed that penalty, which Bayindir also saved, I told myself, it's typical. Everything that can go wrong has gone wrong. And while I definitely do not condone the abuse that he and his wife have received on social media, and I will say this right now, all of you toe rags responsible for that are a disgrace to the club and a disgrace to the game. We do not associate yourselves with you. Get the fuck out of our club, and don't you dare call yourselves Arsenal fans again. But the thing is, well, when you put in a performance like that, you should expect brickbats, although there is a limit as to how much you can actually expect. Some of it went too far. But then you've got to look at the manager and say these are his players who've flopped. These are his players who failed to step it up when it matters. These are his players who have let the club down and have let themselves down, let the fans down, and they're going to have to, bear the brunt of all of that. And it's just disgusting now to think that, as Warren has said, we have gone out at the early stages of the FA Cup. I think it's for 5 seasons since we've won, we haven't gotten past the 4th round. And in 3 of those occasions, we've exited at the earliest possible stage. That is absolutely disgraceful. And you could tell that Manchester United were up for it. Yes, they were the defending champions, but the manager who won them that trophy had long since been sacked. So we were favourites to win. And we just, defecated in the bed, it has to be said. And Arteta has to take some blame for that. But hearing him speak, saying how proud he is of the team and how we should have won the game, I'm sorry, but, if Brian Clough were alive, he'd walk up to him and do to him what he did to Roy Keane back in the day. And I've gone on my rant for long enough, but I'm also going to say this right now. There has been some talk about how if at the end of the season we don't get anything, he will actually resign, because maybe he's he may play the fool at times, but he is nothing if not self-aware, and he does know that a large number of people are starting to really see through all of this crap and realize that he's not the Messiah. He's a very, very naughty boy, and if we don't win anything, he could possibly end up walking. If he does, I give him credit. But what I do worry about, and I'm sure Warren will agree with me, and I will come to him after saying this, is that if Arteta walks, the next manager will be treated very shabbily, just like Unai Emery was. And I fear that the whole cycle might eventually start all over again, although hopefully we might end up with a better manager than Mikel Arteta. I've said my piece, but Warren, would you concur with what I've said so far?
Yeah, more or less. I certainly agree with that last comment about whoever comes in after him, he's not going to get a fair crack of the whip. I've been saying that for a good couple of years now, that when this manager does go, his replacement will get the same treatment as Emery got, because it's not Arteta. And this is a big concern of mine, is if the Kroenkes just wake up and actually do sack this guy, or he resigns, whoever gets the job next ain't going to be here very long, because he won't be accepted. That's the big problem. But I do want to say to Mr. B, I think Brentford should keep a very close eye on that United goalkeeper, because for me, he's light years ahead of Flecken. You know what I think about Flecken, mate? After that game against Arsenal, I was horrified by what I saw in that game. And I think you could I think if you went up there to United with the right sort of offer, you could get him out of United and give him first team football at Brentford. What's your thoughts about that, Mr. B?
Oh yeah, mate. I'd fucking love anyone but Flecken. I'll take anyone. I mean, this guy looks fucking brilliant. I thought he was great for United, being there. He's a Turkish international, I believe, isn't he?
I've got no idea, mate. I don't know anything about him. I just know that he played really well yesterday. And I was thinking, well, he was a reserve team goalkeeper. He's a reserve team goalkeeper at United, obviously. So why not? Why not go up there and put a bid in and just see what happens? You've got nothing to lose, have you?
No, but I mean, saying that, if Arsenal been able to finish their fucking dinner and scored some of those things, he might not have saved everything. I mean, got Havertz right in front of the goal here over the fucking bar, didn't he, or whatever? And what was it?
Well, this is what I'm saying. Maybe against better opposition, he might struggle a bit more. A team that can actually, put the thing on target. But he did what he had to, mate. And he did a good job.
Flecken wouldn't do fuck all, mate. He'd be shit in front of all that. And, this as well, look, Maguire calling Havertz cheating shit out. I thought you should have decked him on with that great big nut. He would have fucking done major damage to him. I would have loved that, mate. I mean, he's a fucking cheating shit. Havertz, isn't he? Bloody
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, you're not the only one, Steve. You're not the only one. I wouldn't have minded seeing that smug donkey get, clocked. But, thankfully for Maguire, it didn't happen. There might not have been VAR, but the referees wouldn't have been that stupid to have not noticed that.
Yeah, but it all broke out, kicked off after that, didn't it? With all that, and he caused it, Havertz. Yeah, again, fucking German giraffe. He done that to us. He's done that to us. He done that to us at the Bees as well. Fucking arsehole. Can't stand the cunt. I really can't.
I remember having that discussion with you before about him. Some of your most disliked players, he appeared on the list.
He should have been sent off, shouldn't he? And he fucking scored the winner. Fucking
no, it's a waste of space, mate. If it was down to me, he wouldn't be at Arsenal. He wouldn't.
Well, you'd take anyone else apart from him, surely. I mean...
Well, exactly. And it's just like this constant trend of taking Chelsea's rejects.
I mean, that was the save from Odegaard there, from Bayinda. What a great... I thought it was a great save myself. They're saying, it weren't a great penalty. I thought the penalty was actually quite good. I don't think it was that bad.
Well, you can see there, it's like it's going. Looks like it's going for the bottom corner, so you can't really say fairer than that, can you?
Yeah, I thought it was a bloody great save, man.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
I think it was. That's what I'm saying to you. He looks decent, that keeper, and if he's not able to get first team football at United, maybe you could go up there and offer it to him and get him out of United.
Oh, definitely. We'd take him. I don't know how much it'd be, how much they want for him, but I think anything, we'd pay it because we need a really good keeper. I mean,
that Flecken guy. I'm sorry, mate. He ain't the one, mate. He's not.
Oh, he ain't. You're right, man. You're right. Totally right, bro. And
I'd just put that young fella in, the one that played against Plymouth in before him.
Yeah,
I don't think he had a bad game, mate. I know he let a goal in, but I don't think he played badly.
Yeah, but he's a nice and number one as well. So I thought he done okay, to be honest. I thought he was pretty good. I mean, couldn't do a lot about the shot, as you say. Couldn't really do a lot about it. It went in, but he done a lot better than fucking Flecken would, though. I'll tell you that. So, but yeah, getting back to that result. So really, you're out of the FA Cup, another one in the bin, a trophy. What have you got now? Champions League, pretty much.
Ain't winning that, mate. Sorry, that's no. I'm telling you now, United will win the Premier League and the Champions League before Arsenal do.
Yeah.
I guarantee it. Within 3 years, United are going to win the Premier League.
Yeah.
That's my prediction. But all the time, this guy is managing Arsenal. Arsenal ain't winning no major trophies, mate.
No, definitely not.
Because the focus is all wrong, right? Apart from the fact that he's absolutely shit at his job, right? They're not interested in winning. That is the problem.
Yeah, for sure. And I think whoever does take it over from him, when he does actually go, they've got a lot to do to clean his shit up, basically, that he's left there. And, I mean, it's going to be a great manager. I mean, whoever else you get, I mean, I think you should get a top level one after this. Yeah. You've got to, anyone better than this,
My concern is that if he resigns, say, or he's sacked, they're going to appoint that big German fella, the BFG, the guy who's in control of the reserve team.
Not Nagelsmann, is it? No, Nagelsmann.
Huh?
What Nagelsmann?
No, the big German, the guy who used to be the defender at Arsenal.
Oh God! Oh, I think I know what you mean. Oh yeah. What the fuck's his name? Oh, great big tall shit, isn't he? Oh God.
Exactly.
Can't think of his fucking name at the moment, but I know you mean.
His nickname was the BFG. Big fucking German.
They turned like the Titanic, didn't he? You know, he turned and that.
What?
And God. Oh. I bet Manny knows him. He remember him. Who we on about? Who's Warren on about, Manny?
Yeah, it's Per Mertesacker, former German international.
That's my big concern. That
one of the
again, and they'll appoint someone with no fucking experience.
Yeah, that's right. And one of the things I do remember about him was that he, in his final game, he sort of made a Lazarus-like comeback to lead us to the 2017 FA Cup win. That was the final trophy we won under Arsene Wenger, believe it or not. But you're absolutely right, Warren, and we have to take things seriously. But as I've said, what's even worse is that the next manager isn't even going to get that level of support if we don't hire from inside. And it's all the more stupid. What was even more disgusting, really, was that I remember Arteta saying that, Amorim basically was a manager before he was, and therefore has a lot more experience in the tank. So basically trying to get people to say that given all that Arteta's accomplished, given that it's his first managerial job, he deserves credit. So you see how people try to, change the goalposts a bit. It's ridiculous. And, the more we talk about it, the more time we'll take, because obviously there's another talking point there. Steve, do please read.
Yeah. Oh, fucking hell. I've got to read this out. Oh, fucking annoyed. Just thinking about it. Why aren't Brentford up for the cup? Yeah, why aren't we? Why aren't we? Plymouth won't care, and nor should they. But there's something depressing about the refusal of sides like Brentford to play their strongest lineup in the FA Cup. It's a massive missed opportunity. We are disappointed, said Thomas Frank. So why don't you fucking do something about it, Thomas, you idiot? But at the same time, he acknowledged that collectively Brentford had dropped 10%. I'd said more than that. More than that. It's true that they have Man City and Liverpool, yeah, I know, as their next two games. So what? Like we're going to do anything anyway against them. What's the fucking point? In the Premier League, but equally Brentford haven't beaten a top-flight side in this competition since 2005-06. And even that was only a Sunderland team on their way to a then-record Premier League low of 15 points. Even when they reached the quarter-final of the Carabao Cup this season, it was a much-changed side that lost at Newcastle. Perhaps that makes financial sense, but it inevitably raises questions about the point of football when prioritising the league means compromising the chance of actually winning something. Exactly. 100%. Plymouth move on from Rooney with famous FA Cup shock at Brentford. Just about says it all, lads. Just about says it all. Absolutely disgusting performance.
Wayne Rooney. Legend as a player, but just not cut out for management.
And this guy scored who we were actually after, Morgan Whittaker. We were after, looking at him, trying to get him. And he fucking scores against us. Just about says it all. And I don't know what to make of it all. We changed the team. I thought, well, mate, it might actually be better. When we changed the team. We got new players in, other players in. We got rid of Flecken out of goal. Oh, yeah, kept fucking Ross left, though. Yeah, right. Why he was still in there, I don't know. But, you know, make a whole new team. I thought, yeah, well, yeah, we should even beat this lot with a new team. Not the full, you know, the first team. You know, Bomos and Vissers and all that, you know. I mean, we could do without them. We didn't need them. And we were totally poor. We just weren't up to it. They wanted it more than us, Plymouth. You know, they gave more of a shit than we did. And I thought, well, why? You know, what we're doing this, what was it last year and everything when we was playing entertaining football? Yeah, we're conceding goals, but we're scoring plenty as well. And still winning games. We're entertaining, you know, at the GTEC. But now we're just fucking falling away and disappearing like anything, like the fucking Invisible Man. We're going. It just doesn't look good. You know, you could get a 5-0 win against Southampton. You think we'd be up for it after that. So confident. After a 5-0 win, yeah, it was only Southampton. But we thrashed them. We walloped them with a fantastic performance. And then we go and do this shit. It's not good enough. It is really not good enough. And, you know, I don't care if some Bees fans like it, how we are, where we are in the Premier. I want better than that. I'm ambitious. I want to see us fucking do something. You know, try and win something, anything. It won't be the Premier. We never win the Premier. Not in a million frigging years would we ever win the Premier. But to win some sort of cup, you know, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, and how well we done there. We got played Newcastle. We changed the team there as well, and got walloped. Changed it. We could have got into the semis there, the Carabao Cup, but no, fucking same as usual.
If you'd played Arsenal, mate, you'd have been guaranteed to get through because they wouldn't have fucking taken it seriously.
Well, I don't know, mate. We still lost to you in the Premier, didn't we?
Well, yeah, that's true.
Well, up there, and we still fucking lost it. So that tells you
You went
everything.
1-0 up, didn't you?
Yeah. We played so well in that game for like, what was it? Oh, the first 10 minutes or 15 minutes or so. We were really hounding you and stopping playing and everything. It went 1-0 up.
I don't understand what happened because you started that game really well and then suddenly, for some unexplicable reason, it just all fell apart.
Yeah. And especially as you equalised through bloody Poxy Flecken not being able to save it properly.
No. That's what I'm saying to you. That goalkeeper is a fucking liability. And the problem is, Mr. B, when you have a goalkeeper like that, right, the defence gets really nervous around him, right? And when that happens, there's no confidence in what he's doing, right? So every time the ball comes into the box or it's near the penalty area, the defenders start panicking, right? So that is a major issue, a major problem. They need to have a goalkeeper who the defence can trust and who are confident in, because otherwise it just unsettles the whole team. Do you know what I mean? It's a massive problem. Like, 2 of those goals were down to him against Arsenal. 2. You know,
Definitely.
So, you know, it's not good enough, really, mate. But listen, Mr. B, unfortunately, mate, I'm going to have to go.
Oh, that's all right, man. Don't worry about it. Thanks for coming in, Warren. You're brilliant, you know. I thought you'd like to...
Thank you for having me on and letting me rip.
No worries, man. Anytime, you know. Anytime you're welcome on here, buddy, you know.
Right.
If you want to put your link in or anything for your channel before you go, you're welcome to, Warren, you know.
I've got access to it. That's really bad. It's just Warren's team talk. on YouTube or and on Instagram and X as well. So
Yeah, all right. Yeah, no worries, bro. I mean, you can put
sorry
it in,
about that, mate. Huh?
you can put it in the chat, mate. You know.
Yeah, I
Well,
know, but I don't know what it is.
okay. Don't worry, mate. I'll get it up there. I'll put it up there for you. Don't worry.
All right, thanks, buddy. Well, look, have you two have a great evening, and I'll try and watch this tomorrow and play back the rest of it.
Yeah, you too, brother. Yeah, you have a great evening, man.
And you,
Yeah.
mate. Speak to you later. Thanks very much, Mr. B. Take care, Manny.
You
Thanks,
too,
bro.
Warren. Thank you. Have a good night.
And you. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers, Warren. Take care,
Cheers.
man. Yeah. Well, he was passionate, and I was passionate as well about that. Oh, bloody hell, mate. I had to get it off my chest there, man. I was just so annoyed. You know, I really did.
Yeah,
I really was.
obviously. I mean,
And,
whenever it's an FA Cup, you know, it's a competition that obviously has, captured our attention since we were all quite young, and you know, to sort of get out of that, I mean, that hurts a lot of us, really, and I'm probably going to have to speak a little bit further about the whole Brentford issue and the cup issue in private, but you know, we'll talk a little bit further about whatever you'd like to talk, because we've got some other stuff to discuss. Yeah.
Yeah, just one sort of positive about the game. We got this guy back on the photo there, Rico Henry. We got him back, which was a real positive. We really needed him back. It's been so long. He hasn't played since 2023, basically. 2023, he hadn't played. So that was the best thing about the game in the end, a positive, we can say. Yeah, we got him back. He didn't play the whole game, but he was played most of it, and he came out of it okay. He didn't have no other issues, no other scares. So that was something we're pleased with. And obviously also Aaron Hickey has signed a new deal, extended deal. He's yet to play again. But when he does play, he says he's going to come back better and, you know, than ever. Well, that remains to be seen when you come back, mate. You know, you all can say it all now, but, you know, we want to see you on the pitch, mate, playing, you know.
Absolutely.
And another step, we're also in talks with Norgard, Christian Norgard, to sign an extension. So that's good news. If we get him signed up again, that'd be brilliant. So there are some good things, you know. It's not all doom and gloom, but, you know, I just feel we would have had a good chance here in this FA Cup, but we're not in it anymore. So we're concentrating now on the Premier, and we got City next. So got a preview for that one tomorrow. Sorry, mate?
I was just saying bigger fish to fry, because normally, you know, the top gooners who are with us use that as an excuse whenever we get have an early exit from a cup competition or from Europe or whatever. We got bigger fish to fry. I mean, we weren't even able to catch the damn fish in the first place. So it's back to eating tuna fish from a tin, for Pete's sake.
Yeah, well, you think you got no chance of catching it? What about us? We ain't got no fucking chance either. You know, we ain't going to do nothing against City. I remember that time we beat them twice, and they were champions. That was, 2-3 seasons ago. Can you see that likely happening again, Manny? I'm not so sure the way it's going.
You know, ironically, City were going through a dreadful slump in the middle of the season. Having lost Rodri to an ACL injury, they certainly weren't, they certainly weren't firing on all cylinders. And even the horribly inconsistent lot that is Aston Villa were able to beat them. They had an embarrassing home loss against Spurs of all teams. And they even lost to an even worse Manchester United team under Amorim. I think now they've started to recover. I don't buy this talk that they are back to their old selves again. No, because obviously there's still a lot of work that has to be done before they can even consider, saying that they're back. And I think even Guardiola has forget about winning the title. We just need to make sure that we secure top four football. And it could very well be that if they fail to qualify for the Champions League, he could end up walking not too long after signing that new deal. And I guess it goes to show, do not be too hasty to sign any new deals unless you're able to achieve your aim. And that's going to sort of be an albatross around the neck of the board for having offered him that stupid new contract in the first place. I'm talking about not just Guardiola, mind you. I'm talking about Mikel Arteta. But obviously, we'll have to talk about these clubs some other time. I think you've got another story. And I'll tell you what, the Wolves are howling again under Pereira. And it's a good thing to see.
Yeah, well, a good fight from Bristol City. I thought they showed a lot of good, courageousness and played well times against Wolves. Although Wolves, had that extra bit of class. But I thought they put up a good performance. Bristol City, had a good go. They was at home, a lot better than us. Let's put it that way. So. But yeah, early goals from Aït-Nouri and Rodrigo Gomez edge Wolves past Bristol City. And this shit, come on, go off, register. Yeah, fuck off. Wolves doubters were out in full force in the build-up, with many backing Bristol City to keep recent history of cup upsets going. However, the sceptics were silenced as Wolves displayed top-flight class in a much improved display. Vitor Pereira was predicted to make plenty of changes, but he settled on 3 from the club's 3-0 Premier League loss to Nottingham Forest, with the goalkeeper Sam Johnston, Andre, and the new signing Emmanuel Agbadou coming into the starting lineup. The arrival from Reims had a good debut after joining on a 4.5-year deal on Thursday. He was calm and assured on the ball, won 3 kicks, and confidently marshalled the back line. On his new signing, who is a natural centre-back that played on the left, Pereira said he was consistent. To play on the left side without a left foot is not easy because he pressed the best foot of them. He can play with left, and he played well, in my opinion. He realised today the game never stops here. There are fast free kicks, fast throw-ins. When the goalkeeper starts to play, the ball never stops. The players don't have the time to recover and to breathe a bit. Despite early dominance from Wolves, it was City who made 3 changes themselves who had the first chance. Scott Twine won a free kick. Very good player, that guy. And took it himself, but the effort was straight at Johnston. Ryan Aït-Nouri had Wolves' first chance, but Max O'Leary was wise to it and made a good save. Wolves kept the pressure on as they won the first corner of the game. It was initially repelled, but João Gomes sent the ball back in, and this time Aït-Nouri didn't miss with a bullet header. There were protests from O'Leary as he was convinced the Algerian handled the ball, but the officials did not intervene. The video assistant referee system is not in operation this season until the 5th round of the Cup. The away end, who had been pretty vocal before the goal, cranked up their noise as O Vitor Pereira rang around Ashton Gate. Wolves supporters only got louder as the club doubled their lead. Slick passes between Jürgen Strand-Larsen and Cancelo Guedes opened space for Rodrigo Gomez to finish calmly. Bristol City grew into the game, particularly by creating more chances for Fadi Mayulu, and their patience paid off. The hosts won a free kick in a great position, and Twine stepped up once again, scoring a sensational goal which sent the stands wild. Not only did it liven up the home support, but it kept their hopes alive as they headed into half-time. I think that was it, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh, no, there's more. Sorry. course there is. There is bad news for the Robins in the second half, however, as Marcus Maguire came off after lengthy treatment. The Bristol City manager, Liam Manning, said we will have to assess it. He took a whack to the head, so we will wait and see. Chances came at both ends, the best coming from a Bristol City free kick with Ross McCrory hitting the crossbar. The ball bounced into the goal area, but Wolves frantically cleared to hold on for victory. Pereira said the priority was the Premier League. They are 17th despite the Portuguese's reign, starting with 2 wins and a draw, and said naming a strong side here was integral to that aim. With only 4 days until they visit Newcastle, we don't have time for training, and I want to increase some behaviours. It is important to use the games to do it, he said. I think we will have time to recover for the next game. I really believe with the players who are injured now, when they recover and we have new players in specific positions, we have a good team and squad to be in the Premier League next year. I don't want to say it was a good training because it can come across bad, but we need to play together and to play the way I want to increase our level. Yeah, so yeah, a tight one, a close one there, and I thought Bristol City did play really well, and but Wolves just about showing their class to get through. Manny?
Yeah, this is what you'd call a classic FA Cup tie. You've got the bigger team up against a home team from a lower league that's determined to put on a show in front of their fans and try and, give a good account of themselves. Of course, back in the day, had they gotten a draw, it would have gone to a replay, and I would like to talk about that if possible, if time permits. But
Yeah, sure.
City certainly gave us as they got, and they are a team, as has been mentioned, are known for having had their share of cup upsets over the years. But Wolves, obviously, I think, have shown Vitor Pereira that they're starting to take things a lot more seriously. And it just goes to show that as saddening as it was to see Gary O'Neill sacked, you sometimes need to have a change of approach at a different club. And if it's any consolation for O'Neill, it could very well be that the next club he manages, the third one in the Premiership, could well prove to be the charm, as it has been for Marco Silva of Fulham. So there is a silver lining, as Marco will testify to. But as far as Vitor is concerned, his team obviously performing a lot better. They're a lot more solid. They're still not out of the woods in terms of relegation from the Premier League, but there is enough about them to suggest that they could do a lot more things. And he seems to be willing to play Matt Doherty a lot more and give him more responsibility. I believe he's now the captain of Nelson Semedo, who's injured, of course. So he's back playing and enjoying himself. Of course, Jose Sarr starting to perform better. And there's a lot of competition. It was also for Vitor Pereira to give Johnson because there was a fear that he was starting to feel a bit, away. Now he's got. This is why, as Altai Bayindir was justified, sometimes important to give your second goalkeepers a. And maybe in hindsight, we should have dropped Raya and given Norberto Neto, the goalkeeper on loan from Bournemouth, a chance. Shout out to Craig Beasley and company from up the Cherries. But
it'll be up to them. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a good game, obviously, and that is why you sort of enjoy watching the FA Cup. And obviously, there will be a lot of controversy about whether or not there should be replays because, as you know, they've all been scrapped. There are plenty of arguments for that, arguments against that, and I think Bristol City can take a lot of from this, but so can Wolves, and Wolves end up moving forward. And there are several other teams that have managed to move in the draw. It'll be interesting to see how well they.
But speaking of teams having really great performance, playing above themselves, a team of part-timers, Tamworth, took Spuds all the way to extra time at 0-0. Can we say it's a real surprise, though, the way Tottenham are? Is that a real shock?
Well, again, this is another reason why you love the FA Cup. You love the sight of non-league teams doing really well whenever they're given the opportunity. And I'm always reminded of what happened with Hereford versus Newcastle back in the day. That was, of course, the BBC commentary debut of a certain John Motson, who was commentating on that game. It was actually supposed to be only a mere mention on Match of the Day, but it ended up being in feature. So that literally was that particular match in question captured the magic of the cup, because Newcastle were, of course, the big boys, and they came all the way to Little Hereford. The venue, of course, being Edgar Street, and the attendance being a paltry 14,000 back in the day. And Hereford were actually in the 5th tier, playing in the Southern Football League. But it was obviously a terrific game. And when you have that sort of an atmosphere where you have a non-league team with nothing to lose and a big team with a huge reputation and a lot to lose, you can get a lot of exciting fixtures. And of course, the biggest memory of that was Hereford equalising and taking it to extra time before Ricky George, the substitute, came on for Roger Griffith, who had played almost the whole leg, mind. He ended up scoring the winner in the first of extra time near the end and sent the stands into absolute bedlam. And that star-studded Newcastle team of Malcolm McDonald, Bobby Moncur and company, and Frank Clark, of course. You can't forget him. They ended up, and it very nearly happened over here, I think, because Tamworth very nearly got a winner. I'm sure you've got all the details and are willing to share them. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure, mate. Yeah. So it went all the way to extra time at 0-0. I was watching the game and I was finding myself cheering for them, for Tamworth. Come on, score, do something. You beat this lot, beat them. They just didn't quite have enough up front, unfortunately. Was the problem. But great performances. That Hollis, he got man of the match for them in the actual game. Not even a Spurs player didn't even get a man of the match. It was Hollis for Tamworth. So anyway, this is what it says. They're fucking celebrating, the Tamworth fan muttered in disbelief as Dejan Kulusevski is landing Tottenham's game-sealing second goal, which is a good goal as well, by the way. Really good goal. And on an afternoon of little victories for Tamworth, here was another. One of Europe's best forwards coming off the bench in extra time to secure a win against the 108th ranked team in England. Just going to get rid of this again. Fuck's sake. What was it? The 108th ranked team in England. Knackered after 106 minutes of football. The keeper, Kulusevski, scored past. Jazz Singh is a building surveyor. 2-0 was it in the end? 3? Maybe Brennan Johnson got
3.
one near the end. Well, he did. It was a good goal, actually, as well. With the press box overflowing, your correspondent was marooned near the back of the main stand, where the view was patchy, but the vibes were immaculate. And the corrugated iron roof was taking an absolute battering. Above all, there was the refreshing sensation of these vastly different worlds moving briefly into alignment. There's Dan Craney, a builder and bricklayer. There's Tom McGlinchey, a PhD student and lecturer at Nottingham Trent University. There's Nathan Shikuna, a provider of after-school clubs and part-time rapper. Meanwhile, there's Son Heung-min, a footballer, Dominic Solanke, a footballer, Timo Werner, a footballer, question mark, I guess, but for a flick of fate, a couple of choices, an injury at the wrong age, they could easily have been in each other's shoes. And for more than 100 minutes on the fake grass of Staffordshire, there was nothing to separate them. Just as things were threatening to get seriously unpleasant for the Premier League guests, Pedro Porro popped up with a smart low free kick. Johnson put the ball across the goal mouth and Shikuna bundled the ball in with his knee. A non-league goal to beat the non-league club. Tamworth had emptied their tank. Kulusevski and Johnson added the richly undeserved extras. And Ange Postecoglou's side could escape back to the Metropole, albeit not without a few ringing eardrums and frostbitten fingers. All the ingredients for an ambush had been left carefully in place. An icily treacherous 3G pitch, an away dressing room with one bench, no central heating and 6 showers. Although the stadium manager Andy Jones had warned them not to try using all 6 at the same time. And a gleefully disdainful home crowd who made up in salt and shade what they lacked in brute numbers. Shit Cole Palmer, they chided James Madison, who had a largely forgettable game. Big Aussie knobhead, getting sacked in the morning, they greeted Postecoglou as he took his seat on the Spurs bench. Werner was serenaded with a chant of sausage jockey and the odd reference to Germany's National Socialist government of the 1930s and 1940s. Magic of the Cup, pure romance and all that. The first Tommy Tonks long throw arrived about 5 minutes into the game. Tonks is one of those folk heroes you only really get in non-league football these days. A sandwich van operator during the week, a long throw berserker at weekends. The crowd beat out a low tribal rhythm. The ITV cameraman perched alongside him for the close-up. Tonks took a few steps, ran through. The throw was headed away. Most of the time it was weirdly quiet. Very quickly the game fell into a kind of tame holding pattern. Chances were few at both ends. Admittedly, there was very little on the pitch to get the pulse racing. As Tottenham passed the ball harmlessly among themselves, and Tamworth availed themselves of the long lump up the channel whenever the opportunity arose. But perhaps when you have hiked your regular ticket prices from £18 to £38 for adults, or £5 to £29 for kids under 10, perhaps you subtly shift the motives of the people watching you. They are no longer your base, your loyal hardcore regulars. Now they are consumers, customers, cultural tourists lining up for the Tamworth FA Cup experience. At the edge of the pitch near the new fan zone, a freshly installed digital hoarding scrolled with adverts for crypto coin, betting companies, The Sun. Spurs were pretty bad, albeit not in a way that feels especially interesting or novel. The blandness of their second string team is hardly news when injuries have basically forced them to play with a second string for weeks. An extra 30 minutes in their legs, not ideal, but at least the experience of facing a cynical, physical, low-block team will stand them in the good stead for the North London derby on Wednesday, Manny. And for all the derision and debasement, the ignominy of trying to shield the ball in the corner against non-league opposition late on, they still have 3 shots at a trophy this season. As for Tamworth, not as much a giant killing as a giant hazing. A reminder of what this team can do when they defend as a unit. A handy confidence boost as they try to stay in the National League, where they are one of the few remaining part-time clubs. The money will help, of course, but the memories will last longer still. So, do we have any sympathy for the Spuds, Manny?
Not really. And I think one person who would have enjoyed that game and who would have enjoyed it more if Tamworth had won was ex-Arsenal midfielder Magic Man Paul Merson, who actually played a game for Tamworth back in the day after leaving Walsall. So, yeah, he would have enjoyed that. He would have loved it if I think Tamworth had won, because I do believe, I don't know if it was mentioned in the article, but Tamworth did have a chance to win it near the very end before it went to extra time. And, you know, obviously this is the match which has sort of fueled the controversy of whether or not the replay should be scrapped, because potentially the chance for Tamworth to travel all the way to the London Stadium and have more people getting the tickets and having an equal share of the ticketing and TV revenues, that would have been, you know, a huge windfall for them. But we will obviously try to talk about that. But I suppose you could say Spurs managed the game well enough, and once it went to extra time, sadly, unlike Newcastle against Hereford, there really was only going to be one winner, and it wasn't the non-league team. But Tamworth can be a little bit proud. The only issue is, as with other non-league clubs that have had their day in the FA Cup sun, I don't know if this is going to be a sort of a shot in the arm, or will it just, delay the inevitable? You think of what happened to Havant and Waterlooville. I think it's fair to say that they haven't been able to build on that wonderful day against Benitez's boys at Anfield. But again, the issue of inequality will be highlighted. But this is something that we'll talk about. But let's go through these talking points. I see something concerning Harrogate and Leeds now.
Yeah. Well, I suppose you could say, was this almost a local derby there? Harrogate and Northern, aren't they? Northern team. I'm trying to think.
Sort of.
I think they're not far from Leeds, aren't they? Harrogate. Yeah.
If memory serves me right, Harrogate happens to be the constituency of the former Prime Minister Rishi Sunak.
Yeah. Oh, right, yeah.
Yep. Harrogate is a spa town in the district and county of North Yorkshire, England, historically in the West Riding of Yorkshire, tourist destination and so forth. And you're right. It is more or less a local derby of sorts, although probably not as big a local derby as something like, say, maybe Leeds and a Sheffield club, or maybe Leeds and Barnsley or Huddersfield or what have you. But yeah, certainly a nice trip for the Harrogate fans. A short one, of course, it has to be said. A little bit like Accrington Stanley going to Liverpool. Hey, we're there!
Really? Now get off. Yeah. Shame about that. What happened to one of them? Well, not a shame, because he obviously turned out to be a bit dodgy. Let's put it that way. One of them boys, wouldn't they? Unfortunately, without going into it too deeply here and too much, committed a bit of a sin, basically. But we won't go into that, Manny. But this was, as you say, I think a hard-fought win for Leeds. Would have been a shock, maybe. It would have been a shock. Harrogate, not if they knocked them out. But Leeds just about snuck it.
Continue, I stand corrected. Just continue. I want to say I stand corrected, because Harrogate is not the constituency of Rishi Sunak. That is Richmond and Northallerton, which was Sunak's constituency. The current constituency MP is Tom Gordon from the Liverpool Democrats, who beat the long-standing Conservative Andrew Jones in the election. But anyway, it looks as though Mr. B's gone off, but I think his Wi-Fi is playing tricks on him. So one of the issues that we might want to discuss later on is the issue of, he's gone and he's back, and I'm sure he'll want to load that, obviously. And the issue of replays has reared its head, but for a club like Harrogate, obviously, taking a short trip to the might of Leeds United, who were, league champions in the last edition before the advent of the Premiership, and were also, flitting with the Premiership themselves. This is obviously a nice day out for them. And obviously, the scoreline says it all. A really tough fight, another classic encounter. Let's hear all about it, Mr. B.
Yeah, I'll try and be as quick as I can here, because obviously we're going, it's just past 8 o'clock now. But anyway, if FA Cup victories were awarded for effort, then Harrogate Town would have eased into the fourth round at Leeds. Unfortunately for them, industry only gets a team so far in football, and it was the hosts who eventually proved their quality to progress. Largi Ramazani, what name that is, scored the only goal of the game to send Leeds through against the team 68 places below them in the Football League pyramid. Harrogate could not have given any more, fighting for 90 minutes to keep Leeds at bay and falling just short. There are 6 full internationals in the Leeds team, while the Harrogate CVs boasted Leek Town, Nuneaton Borough and Kingstonian. If the task ahead was not obvious before kick-off, then it was abundantly clear when the team sheets were compared. The Harrogate manager, Simon Weaver, had told his players in the build-up to be all in and work for one another. His demands were met and more by his League 2 strugglers, who arrived with 1 win and 6 defeats in their past 8 league matches. Even at that level, the Sulphurites are a defensive team and went to extremes against the championship leaders. I'm immensely proud of the whole evening from our perspective, Weaver said. I thought the players were right on it. It's a massive moment on our journey and we wanted to impress. But with that brings some nerves as well. I wanted them to really embrace the moment. You can win it, but sometimes it doesn't happen and players can be fazed by it. I didn't think that at all tonight. Leeds enjoyed 80% possession in the first quarter of the match, but through a mixture of discipline, defensive organisation and resilience, Harrogate kept them quiet. The first half followed a pattern of Leeds passing the ball from side to side, hoping to create some space within the yellow and black walls ahead of them. But they were playing too slowly to cause problems. The Harrogate goalkeeper, James Belshaw, was eventually tested when Ramazani was afforded some rare space inside the area. The drove a shot across goal, but the former office worker got down well to stop it, and Matteo Joseph hit the post. If ever there was a simple indication of Harrogate's ambitions in this match, it was neatly summed up in one stat. They had a solitary touch in the Leeds box in the entirety of the first half. Not that they were concerned as they went unscathed. They even had a claim for a penalty when Josh March went down under pressure in the box. I asked the player who went down, Josh March, he said, oh yeah, certainly he clipped his heels, Weaver said. Every tackle and block was cheered by the more than 4,000 Harrogate fans in the away end, while the home supporters were less generous with their words when the visitors agonised over every goal kick and free kick as they tried to run down the clock. Considering the quality on the pitch for Leeds, it felt inevitable that they would find a sufficient opening and punish any lapse from Harrogate. It arrived just before the hour mark when Israel winger Maynor Solomon, who actually played for Fulham at one stage, used his cunning and speed to get to the byline and pick out Ramazani to head home from close range. It was a moment of relief for Leeds. Harrogate could have been forgiven for throwing the towel in at this point, but they continued to defend manfully and battle for every ball, although lacked a cutting edge and failed to test Carl Darlow. Belshaw went up for a free kick in the final minute stoppage time as Harrogate desperately sought an equaliser, but it was not to be. Harrogate left with plenty of pride, even if Leeds not got the glory. The main thing in a cup competition is to get into the next round, Daniel Farker said. It's never easy because for them it is the game of the season, for some the game of their lives. You have to respect the quality of the opponents. They defended really well and deep with a knife between their teeth. We had to tire them out, and is how the goal came. Well done to Harrogate. I think they played an excellent game, but I'm pleased to be in the next round. I'm sure you are. But only just. It's a 1-0 though, and it's a win. And it gets them through at the end of the day, doesn't it? So that's all that matters.
Yep. I mean, the thing about FA Cup games against lower league opposition is that on one hand you can say that a win is a win, but you also know that any other day could very easily have been a loss. And I do seem to remember Leeds United in, I think, League One at the time, pulling off a huge shock when they beat Manchester United at Old Trafford in, I think it was it might have been in 2010 or 2011, I forget which decade it was. At that time, Michael Owen was playing for the club back in the day. So, I suppose if you win, if you're a bigger team, you've got to be honest with yourself and say you can do better. But the most important thing is you're through to the next round. And that's exactly what Ange said after that Titanic struggle against Tamworth. And of course, this match certainly isn't tight.
No,
Almost a derby, given that Salford happens to be owned by a bunch of Manchester United legends. Sadly, unlike the United main team, this little subordinate team couldn't quite get back together.
yeah. Well, you see the likes that legends they had there, of the likes of Giggs and Coulson Scholes and Butt, But yeah, I think this was it was a formality for City. There was never going to be any upset here. But I think McAtee was brilliant. Got a hat trick. I rate this guy. I mean, we've been linked with him actually. Apparently, he scored against us for Sheffield United when he was on loan from I think from Man City. Sheffield United. I think it was last season, probably.
Yep.
Yeah, last season. So we know firsthand what he's like, what he can do. He's got a lot of quality. Could he be another one out the door at City and another one they're going to let go, Manny? Would he be another one?
I'd like to think that if Guardiola leaves, the next manager will make it a point to ensure that a certain core of homegrown, City Academy boys will play in the team. I mean, credit to Guardiola, he's trying to redress the balance by giving the likes of Rico Lewis and Jamal Simpson, Poussey, and one or two others a few chances. But you can't have a situation where you let more people go. And I would like to think, of course, with the likes of Gundogan, who captained the team yesterday, or was it the day before? I forget. It was the day before. Yeah, that's right. For the likes of others, this will be their final. There will be vacancies, but obviously the big challenge will be to try to keep that blend of youth and experience. But McAtee could be on his way. But given that you're not a big fan of McDonald's, I'm not too sure you'd want a Big Mac at your club.
Well, no, you can take that, and I'll tell you what. I won't tell you what you can do with it, but it was McDonald's. No, Manny. And I worked there, and I ate their crap when I worked there. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know why they're that good. Why I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I don't get McDonald's. Being this great and famous, and everyone goes there and loves it, and I don't get all that. Most people, because you know what it really is when it comes frozen, and you don't get it the full size it should be when it goes on your plate or whatever, or in your not on a plate, but when you get it, it's not full size, mate. And it's not like a Burger King when you get that proper big size, big juicy burger,
You know what? The thing about me is, though, Steve, is that I've sworn off for McDonald's and Burger King and other burger restaurants. I've sort of, sworn myself off that. I'm a bit surprised, though, because I always thought McDonald's had quality standards, especially back in the UK. Forget about America. I mean, the crap that they put over there. You just can imagine that the beef patties would be full of nothing but filler, and it wouldn't really be worth eating. But I always thought that in the UK they had quality standards, talking about how their burgers would be 100% beef or chicken or fish or whatever. But I guess maybe they were just trying to create a smokescreen for everyone.
Yeah, but they're popular. I don't know why. I still don't know why. But I take Burger King and things like that all day long, and Wendy's and places like that. They're the proper size and they're proper. Got taste to them, and they seem fresher. I don't know. I don't get that, but we're not here to talk about food and takeaways, really. We're on, but this was pretty much, a walkover, and Salford had no answer, and a walloping from City, and they certainly weren't going to be a cup upset, were they? So, and now we've got to face them. So, not going to be easy, is it, for us? Could you say they're back a bit, City, now? Would you say they're back, Manny?
Well, I'm not too sure that they are quite back. Obviously, against Salford City, I didn't really see them taking too many chances. And the fact that Ederson was picked in goal, pretty much can tell you it's the reserve team these days. I was a bit surprised that Scott Carson never got to play. You'll Never Walk Alone 66 says, big up Mr. B. We had Luke in the chat asking if we're fine. Yes, son, we're all right. Thank you very much indeed. And there isn't very much to say about it, except City obviously were on a mission to make sure they had a convincing win, and they got just that. And they're hoping to go one better than they did last year when they allowed Eric Ten Hag's bunch of misfits to snatch the trophy from their grasp. But when they beat West Ham 4, they still look a little bit shaky defensively. And against better opposition, they could still be liable to struggle unless they redress the defensive balance. I think news is that Kyle Walker might actually be considering leaving City either at the end of the season or before the end of the season. I don't think he's going to be in squads going forward these days. So Walker might just want to leave and make sure he gets first team football elsewhere. But we can both agree that his team at the top is pretty much done and dusted. He has literally become a Walker. Can't run these days. But it does look good for Brentford. But all I can say is that I hope you'll just continue to keep your defensive shape. It'll be easier said than done, obviously, with Roerslev, and I'm expecting Flecken back in goal. But just keep the shape, keep your unity, and who knows what can happen.
Yeah. I'm hoping we can bounce back. We might come back from that. We might think, why did we go out the FA Cup? And actually put in a performance. And I'd love that. I really would. But yeah, getting back to this, Liverpool pretty comprehensive as well, wasn't it? Against Accrington Stanley, Manny. Who are they?
Yeah. I think it's fair to say that the Accrington boys forgot to drink their milk that day.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But no, this is pretty comfortable for Liverpool as well, really. And of course, you got the youngsters coming through here, like this Jayden Dans, scored a good goal, 18-year-old. So another youngster there. They seem to have good youngsters, Liverpool, Manny again. Seems to be producing them. Of course, Chiesa as well. What a goal he scored as well. Great goal. Chiesa as well.
Yep.
And, it's about time we saw him, what he could do, and we know what class he's got, Chiesa, quality he's got. And he scored there. I think I am following you on Insta. Who's that? Luke, is it? Luke, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I am following you on Insta, mate. I'm sure I am. Pretty sure. But anyway, I will check. I'm sure I've got you on there. But anyway. Yeah, but getting back to this, I thought pretty simple. I mean, it's almost like a second team for Liverpool in a way, some of them. But yeah, I thought Chiesa was, quality. So Jota, again, put in a great performance. What quality they've got all the way through their team, these youngsters and everything.
Yeah. True, but let's also not dismiss the Accrington boys, because I did say jokingly that they didn't drink their milk, but they actually did have quite a few chances. They were able to get in behind the defence and cause a few nervy moments. I don't quite recollect Caoimhin Kelleher having to make a save, but they did make life a bit uncomfortable. And of course, it was a bit unfortunate, of course, that where they conceded their second goal very close to the half-time whistle, because you'd like to think that their confidence would have been high going in 1-0 down as opposed to 2-0. But then, typical of ties like this, it's normally the big team that sort of, they have sort of a slow first half. And then the second half, they just completely turn it on as the lower team just, tires a little bit. And that's sort of the way it ends up being more than anything else. So obviously, Accrington had their moments, and they'll remember their day out at Anfield. And Liverpool with a measured performance, much changed, almost youth team with only the likes of Kelleher and Endo from the first team playing, and a good day for everyone, I would say. And Liverpool marched on in the FA Cup, and obviously Scott is trying to out a new level of ruthlessness in that team. I think they were disappointed to have dropped points against Manchester United, but as I keep telling a certain Liverpool fan who, is even more of a negative about his club than I am about mine, Liverpool, whenever Liverpool have a slight setback in terms of dropping points in the Premiership, they all seem to go on a winning run. And lest we forget, they have an absolutely splendid record in the Champions League as well. That negative Nancy will obviously say that, they are ripe for a slump and it will happen. But, there's a focus and a ruthlessness to this Liverpool team which you can't but admire. My guess is, though, that after the season, there will be some changes made because they now want to stamp his mark on the team and try a new team rather than continue this inherit from Jurgen. So, a lot to like. And Accrington Stanley didn't really disgrace themselves by any means. 4-0, I suppose, is not really that bad in the scheme of things. And their goalkeeper even had a few excellent saves that he made, even worse. So just another top time for the imagination. I'd like to think that, they would have distributed milk to all fans there at Anfield and definitely all around. Obviously, we're not going to talk too much about the controversy surrounding the milk advertisement. Let's just
yeah.
But anyway, always drink and stay out of trouble.
Yeah. I wish he should have done as well, but we won't, as I say, won't go into that. But anyway, so, and a cracker from Trent as well, don't forget. Weldy goal from Trent in this one.
Yeah, that was the goal scored half time.
What a goal. Yeah, he can be average one game and really poor, and then the next he turns it on. So inconsistent, that guy, isn't he? Really, let's be honest. So, but I think Real Madrid want him still, apparently. So, that'd be interesting. Do you think they should have him, Manny? Do you think he's worth it at the end of the day?
Well, he'd be a replacement for Dan Carvajal, who might possibly be edging close to retirement. And the interesting thing is that Ancelotti will have to make sure that he tightens up defensively. Now, we all know that as one as he is as an attacker, he can't defend for Toffee. But Ancelotti has always been famous for being a rather defensive-minded coach who can obviously, have an attacking potential in his team. But defensively, they're supposed to be strong. Of course, that wasn't the case when they played the Super against Barcelona, being pumped for 5 goals in that game. And there's still talk about Scotty possibly losing his job if they fail to win anything. And, Ancelotti will be a wanted man. That happens if he ends up losing his job. And if he goes, I think let them get him in at Arsenal. I'd take him in a heartbeat. Ancelotti is still the manager and has joined. I think Ancelotti will work with him. But if Ancelotti leaves, I don't know if the deal will go through. And if it does go through, then Trent will have to work with the manager he wasn't expecting to work with, but we'll see how that happens. We'll see how everything goes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But Chelsea pretty comfortable here as well against Morecambe. They were pretty much wise to Morecambe, weren't they? Their play. So,
yeah.
But,
Although for a time
yeah.
it looked as though Morecambe were the ones getting wise to Chelsea, not
Yeah.
on the sniff. Again, as with Liverpool and Accrington Stanley, once Chelsea, started scoring, you knew that the gates would open, and that's pretty much how it proved. But Morecambe also, like Accrington, had their moments, and they could have caused a few problems. And the Chelsea goalkeeper, Philip Jorgensen, he didn't exactly distinguish himself on a few occasions. Hannah can testify to. So they've got problems with their goalkeepers. I know Hannah isn't a big fan of Bob Sanchez. But again, nothing really much to say. We saw quite a bit of it. And once Chelsea scored, they ran by João Felix, of course, had obviously another good game. They're doing whatever they can to cover for the Amps. Kylo Mudrak has been given a ban, of course, as we all know. So yeah, Chelsea on. But they do have some issues to work with.
Oh yeah, definitely. But they're still looking pretty good. I mean, I think they're still right up there, aren't they? I mean, I know they lost a couple recently, I think, or whatever, but drew one recently as well. But I think they're still quite a fair way up there. Still, I think they're top 5, aren't they? Still. So, yeah, they still got a way to go. I definitely don't think they're Premiership challenges. I really don't. Not quite. At one stage, I thought they might be, but no, I don't think they're quite ready for that yet. But a great job Maresca's done there, I think. Really good job. So, he's got them up and going at it again, and doing well. So fair dues to that guy, But yeah, so we move on, and Palace only a 1-0 against Stockport.
Yep.
Did they make this harder than it should have been? Was it not as easy as it should have been?
Well, it was certainly. I'm sure they would have wanted to be easy on a Sunday afternoon, but didn't quite work. Probably didn't quite work out that way. And in fact, props to Matt Turner, former Arsenal goalkeeper. I think making his first appearance for Crystal Palace, a really important step to make, which ensured Palace would get their clean sheet. So it wasn't easy. As usual, Eddie Nketiah drawing a blank. Stockport's defence was not in trouble with Nketiah in the room.
No. The old Beverly Hills flop again, isn't it? Beverly Hills flop. But yeah, it's a win though. They are through. I suppose. I thought Stockport should commend themselves, give themselves a pat on the back. I think they've done fairly well. Only losing 1-0, no shame in that. So, not a bad performance from them. But of course, Palace go marching on, and they. Can you remember who they got in the next round? I'm trying to think now who Palace have got.
Check the draw. Tell you. Obviously, I know that Spurs are going to be playing Aston Villa at Villa Park, and as an Arsenal fan, I will be cheering on him. Emi Martinez, of course, if he plays, because obviously Robin Austin played for Villa. Who was it they played against? West Ham, yes, West Ham. Graham game.
West Ham, right.
Yeah, Potter's
Yeah,
first game as
Stan.
West came back from 1-0 down to win 2-1, and yeah, so
Yeah,
that's what I know. I also know Manchester United have a really mouth-watering tie against Leicester City. Ruud van Nistelrooy coming back to his former
yeah.
club. That is interesting
Should be
because
good.
not too long ago, Van Nistelrooy was managing at Manchester United.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, he's had it pretty. Could say a rude awakening at Leicester, I suppose, but he's sort of doing things with them a little bit. Do you think he can turn them around totally, though, Leicester, and get them away from relegation or anything like that?
Well, obviously, when it comes to relegation, we know that Southampton are cut adrift. They are done and dusted. I don't see them
Definitely.
recovering under their new manager. And yes, they had a good win against Swansea, even with Aaron Ramsdale in goal. But I just think the FA Cup will be nothing more than a distraction, and they will obviously want to try and stay in the Premiership, or maybe it could be that they've resigned. They're resigned to their fate, and maybe they might fancy a cup run. And certainly Newcastle fancy a bit of a cup run. Bromley very nearly gave them an upset, but Newcastle under Eddie Howe continuing to march on, recovering well, and it's no coincidence really that ever since Martin Dubravka replaced Nick Pope in goal, they look a little bit more solid defensively. I think in the 7 or so games that he's played, he's kept 5 clean sheets and only conceded 2 goals, a goal each game. There has been talk about him possibly going to Saudi Arabia to play with the likes of he who shall not be named, the people. But Eddie Howe is apparently wanting Dubravka to stay until the end of the season. And if Newcastle reach a cup final, I think Dubravka definitely deserves to get himself a medal. But Bromley also, providing a lot of fight, a lot of heart, taking the lead. But again, Newcastle's class shining through. And of course, Newcastle do have their matchup against Birmingham City, of all teams. Liverpool are playing Young Conquerors Plymouth Argyle. And Crystal Palace actually have a really interesting team against Doncaster Rovers, who beat Hull also on penalties.
Yeah, we will obviously talk about that before we go. I obviously do want to discuss that one briefly as well. But yeah, pretty good from Newcastle. Although they were 1-0 down, you've got to give Bromley a lot of credit. They played really well. I thought they'd done so well there. I thought there was going to be an upset. I really did when I heard about that. They'd scored. Went 1-0. I thought, oh yeah, they've done something we can do and probably beat Newcastle. And yeah, in the Carabao Cup, like we should have done. But they could have beaten them in the FA Cup. But no, it's a shame. And of course, we all know who's playing for Bromley as well, don't we? Ex-Arsenal player as well plays there.
Ex-Arsenal, wow.
Carl Jenkinson, Manny.
Jenkinson, yes. I saw that name. I thought it looked familiar. I told myself it couldn't be Carl, but now I've just found out that it is. And wow, that is a blast from the past.
Yeah.
And of course, Bromley were coached by Andrew Woodman, former Newcastle United goalkeeper and goalkeeping coach. And of course, Andy's son is none other than Freddie Woodman, who was the England under-20 World Cup champion goalkeeper. So
you can say he's a chip off the old block. Chip off the old block, Manny. Woodman. Yep. Yeah.
And once Martin to stay, touchwood, Martin will say he wants him to be a part of the future. But I do think what might happen is that Dubravka might stay, maybe pick up a cup medal, but then probably be on his way. If Howe continues to prefer Pope over Dubravka, then why should the Slovakian international stay and have to fight for his place when he can have guaranteed first-team football elsewhere. He wants to keep his spot as Slovakia's #1 usually.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, also I just want to also mention that we're after Matt Targett from Newcastle, obviously left back.
Oh, yes, Matt's definitely a target for you boys, eh?
Yeah. Well, he would be a good, sort of like replacement for, say, Henry if he gets another injury, say, or he could play instead of him for a while, and then obviously Henry can come back when he's totally fit. I do rate him, Matt Targett. He looks good. He's got Premiership, experience. I think he'd be a good buy if we get him. He'd be a really good buy. So I really hope we can do that. But it remains to be seen. Obviously, it's still in talks or negotiations or anything that's going on. We don't know at the moment. There are other teams. I think Leicester are after him as well, I believe. So, but then again, why would you want to go to a team that's near relegation? I mean, maybe issues there that are sort of, you don't know if they will stay up. We'd rather go to a team that are almost cemented in the Premier, although they're not very good in the FA Cup. But they're almost cemented in the Premiership, now, in the Bs. So really, you would pick that option, really, wouldn't you? But
yeah, you would. You probably would. And, obviously Matt Targett is struggling for first-team football at Newcastle, just like he was at Aston Villa when Steven Gerrard brought Lucas Digne in. And it wasn't really a nice situation for him. But maybe Howe's starting to use his squad a lot more, so it could very well be that Targett might get to play some games. But next season, I'll tell you what, he could be a good option, definitely.
Yeah. I do hope we get him. I think he looks good. I always thought he was good when he was at Villa and all that. So yeah, he'd be experienced as well. He's 29 and he's had a lot of Premiership experience. I mean, it'd be a good move, no brainer for us really. If we can get him, it'd be brilliant. So, but yeah, getting to this one, the last one, Manny, this will be it, mate, because obviously we've gone over, we're going near 2 hours now, but we've gone over an hour odd. So obviously want to mention this though. Brilliant from Little Donny Rovers in the League 2. A fine win. Okay, Hull are not really having a great season, I don't think, in the Championship. I think they're near the bottom. I believe struggling a bit. But they're still a big side, in the Championship. And fair dues to Doncaster. What a win, Okay, it might have been on penalties, but, winning on penalties is not for everyone, is it, Manny? So,
Nope.
But, sorry to mention that. But, but, it's a brilliant win for Doncaster, isn't it? Really was.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, another team that's gone further in the FA Cup than both Arsenal and obviously, of course, Brentford. And this is another thing we really like to see. Obviously, a young Leicester team going to a bigger team well over there and actually winning. You do get the feeling, though, that a large number of these Championship clubs that play in the FA Cup, especially if they're not doing too well in their respective leagues, they tend not to do too well in the Cup because obviously the weight of the pressure of their situation will weigh heavily on them. Of course, Plymouth proved to be the exception because despite, I think, being very low in their respective league, they did quite well against it, obviously. But, maybe Hull just have a lot more things on their mind than actually trying to, go on a cup run themselves. And this is where you sometimes have this, where clubs have this conundrum. Would they really want to focus on a fairy tale-ish FA Cup run, knowing that they've got more important things to try and sort out? Or do they just, try to use this to take take their troubles off their minds, just go out and have a day out. And certainly for Doncaster, they would do well, and they made a day of it. And obviously there's no replay. They knew that they had to try and win any which way, and they ended up winning on penalties. So that's an example of how sometimes a team can end up having the rub of the green.
Yeah, definitely. And of course they were in the lead as well, and they have got somebody that used to play in the Premiership, who's in the Premiership, Molyneux. Sorry, slight joke there, but Molyneux.
yeah.
Wolves. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, so they took the lead, and pretty much deserved it in the end. Although, of course, Hull equalised 80th minute, but I thought brilliant.
Yeah. It was also mentioned, Steve, that the goalkeeper from Doncaster was lucky not to have gotten sent off. He fouled one of the Hull players outside the penalty area, and according to the letter of the law, as the last man, he would have been sent off, but he ended up staying on the field, and he went to be the penalty hero. So Hull did have some reason to feel a little bit aggrieved in some respects. When you have a situation where you don't have VAR being used in these earlier rounds, you end up getting these controversies. And Manchester United were on the receiving end of those horrible controversies, but they fought as a team, and they were everything that Arsenal weren't, and they deserved to win. And as for Hull, well, had the Doncaster goalkeeper been sent off, maybe it would have changed things. You never know.
Yeah, it might not have made much difference in the end, but I mean, a great performance. Can't take it away from Doncaster, and they're in the fourth round of the FA Cup. So, good luck to them. I hope they do well. They deserve to, and let's hope they can do something. I mean, they got. Who did we say they got? Doncaster, Palace. Is it Palace?
Yes, Crystal Palace, I think.
Yeah. Away. No, sorry, at home. Yeah. Sorry, they're at home. And
Doncaster. That's right.
Yeah, they're at home. I just got the fixtures here. Could you see an upset there? Could they beat Palace as well? Knock them out?
I don't think so, Steve. I think Crystal Palace are pretty much on a mission to try and recover from a poor start to the season. And Glasner does seem to have them working a lot harder. I think it will be nice for Matt Turner to continue in goal and have a nice little cup run all to himself. And he needs opportunities to continue to play and prove to Glasner that he's more than capable. But as far as Eddie Nketiah is concerned, 30 million down the drain, and that idiot has flopped yet again.
Yeah. Yeah, he don't deserve nothing, let's be honest, does he? He was at your team and done nothing, did he? All that money. What was he on again? Was he on, 200,000 or something? Was it or more? I can't remember now.
A week, and the Bulls and them are easily parted. It was true in our case, and now it's true in Crystal Palace's case. But hey, at least we don't have Nketiah on the bus anymore. Happy days.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one donkey you got rid of. There's plenty more though, isn't there? But yeah, especially the manager, I should say as well. But
you bet.
But yeah, looking at these fixtures before we go, Manny, I will obviously call it a day in a minute. Got to bounce and all that. Got to get something to eat and all that as well. But out of these, what can you see? Anything? Any upsets here? Any teams that could do something? Could Exeter get an upset against Forest at home?
No, I think Forest are definitely on a bit of a roll, and they're looking to take it seriously. I'm very interested to see the Fulham tie against either Mansfield Town or former champions in athletics, who of course won it back in the day when Bobby Martin was manager. And you could say that that particular feat has seen him, mint all of these jobs ever since. Everton against Bournemouth is definitely going to be, very keenly contested. Nobody will tell you otherwise. And obviously the Manchester United Leicester City, because Ruud van Nistelrooy factor will be very interesting. Preston or Charlton against Wickham will also be one to watch. I'll be very interested to see what happens with Spurs, because mind you, they do have the League Cup semi-final against Liverpool to negotiate before they face Villa Park. Villa might look at that as an opportunity to exploit Spurs' continued troubles. And as far as Manchester City are concerned, whether it's Leyton Orient or Derby County, I think either of those two clubs are just going to be lambs to the slaughter, just like Salford City were.
Yeah, for sure. So you don't think there'll be any major upsets? I mean, could Coventry go on a good cup run again? I mean, they got Lampard in charge, as we know now, but is it conceivable they could do something?
It's interesting, obviously, because under Mark Robbins, they had that beautiful run where they very nearly shocked Manchester United and humiliated them out of a possible FA final. They could have made the final themselves for the first time since 1987, when they won it famously against Spurs with a Gary Madden own goal. But yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because this could potentially be an exciting game, especially if Kieran McKenna doesn't feel strong enough or take it seriously. And even when Ipswich had their game, I think their opponents had a few moments against them, especially with Arianet Muric in goal. I think that this could be an exciting game, a potential upset. Ipswich should come out on top in the end, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Manny. I agree. I think some of these are playing tonight. Is it Millwall's playing tonight? I think Millwall.
Millwall tonight. You're right.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going. Actually, I haven't managed to check that, but I think Preston or Charlton's tomorrow, I think. What else? I think the Mansfield and Wigan one's tomorrow, I think, as well. And Leyton Orient versus Derby.
Returns tomorrow. You're a lot up against City.
Yeah. I suppose. Yeah, I've got to do a preview anyway. So I'm hoping to get somebody on. AK can't join me. Apparently he's at work. He's doing a lot of work, so I won't be able to get him on for the preview, unfortunately. But I'll try and get someone else if possible. If not, I'll have to do it all on me, Jack Jones, in the end. But that won't matter. I'll do that. But yeah, this has been really good. Unfortunately, it's gone on a long time again. It's gone, 1:59. So yeah, a very long stream yet again, a good one. I enjoyed it. Obviously, we had Warren on earlier as well, and that was interesting. He really ranted, of course, about Arsenal, as you did, I know as well. And that was really good. And me, of course, I went on one as well. Couldn't help it in the end. I think Cano has got a cricket stream, but obviously we might have missed it. But that don't matter. I guess in a way we'd have to do it the next time. Go on there next time. But I think we pretty much chatted about a lot of cricket earlier anyway. About the Ashes, of course. So.
Yes, I actually missed a big headline, mind you, and James Anderson has signed a new deal with Lancashire for one more year, so he'll be playing in the Championship and the T20 Blast. And he's made it crystal clear that forget about coaching, his first love is to continue to play. And he's made it clear that Lancashire will be his first priority. Obviously, you know, he doesn't necessarily say no to coaching England, but he's made it clear that Lancashire are really the team, are really where his heart lies. And that's the way it should be. You know, if England have made it clear that they don't want your services as a player, don't just sit around over there trying to coach for the sake of being a part of the furniture, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think he should carry on. He's incredibly fit still. For what was he, 42 now? 41, 42? He's incredibly fit
40,
still.
yeah.
He looks amazing. He looks like he still could be like he was when he was 20 or whatever, you know. Like, you know, he still looks that. Yeah. You know. So if you can still keep going at that age, good luck, mate. Keep doing it. Why not? You know. A lot of us wish we could do that at that age, couldn't we? Still. So
you never know.
Yeah.
It's never too late to do anything again, but I mean, obviously, I've pretty much been into powerlifting recently, and I do pretty much enjoy it. There will obviously be limits as to how far I can go at my own advanced age, but yeah, just keep on going.
Yeah, for sure. And he's a perfect role model for all that. Anyone growing up, you know, youngsters, and see what you can do, what you can achieve for, you know, get to that age and still be, you know, really playing well. And then, yeah, okay, not for England anymore, but that wasn't his. Well, we could go into all that again. Wasn't his real decision. He didn't really want to give that up, did he? He was sort of forced into it in a way. But obviously, we won't be going into that. I mean, this is a football stream, though, so we're not going to go into that anyway. But yeah, so that was great again, Manny. I really enjoyed this, and we're going to have to bounce though. So where can we find you, my friend?
Well, as always, Steve, up to you for hosting the stream, and I am delighted that I didn't have any issues with my connection this time around. No need to go out and come back in. So touch wood, it went beautifully, and I'm really, really delighted. You can find me here on The Buzz. You can also find me on Mr. B Chats England Cricket, where, as the name suggests, we do chat England cricket. And obviously, we will be talking a lot more about the women's Ashes and also the men's T20 series against India and their preparations for the upcoming Champions Trophy. The squad's were already named some time ago. Big up to Warren, of course, who was here in the chat. You can find me on his channel, where I've done a few streams with him, including an interview about my life as a football fan, similar to what Steve did with Warren not too long ago. So do check that out. And I also had a stream with him where we were talking about the misfortunes of Arsenal, of course. And that's also good fun. Also, shout out to Del Boy Gunner TV, Coach's Corner, Oris Talks Football, Up the Cherries in all departments, Tony Claude Gunner TV, Danny AC TV, Rich Sports, big up to him. He was here in the chat earlier. Also, Football United with Anthony Herbert, Gun Down UK, the Southern Gooner with Matt Odom, really, really passionate American soccer fan who tells it like it is and shoots straight from the hip. Hopefully, we'll get to work together again. Also, Spurs Eurasia TV with Eugene, all the way from Malaysia. And also Football Overseas with Kyle Harvey and quite a few other channels. AFC Talk Show TV with MK the Don. I did do a few videos with him, and hopefully we could resume that again. And several other channels, of course, where I have made some appearances. All channels that are very, very special and important to me. And, of course, if they don't believe me when I tell them they're important to me, there will, of course, be a check in the post. But it's time to start writing them, I'm afraid. And I keep saying that, and I really will have to write them. But, yeah, nothing much else to say except thanks to all of you who joined in the chat. Really appreciated it. You've kept us engaged in many ways. And, yeah, looking forward, obviously, to Premiership football returning later on this week. North London derby on Wednesday, and Steve's boys have got Manchester City tomorrow. And that's going to be a real humdinger. How will they recover from that FA Cup heartbreak? But until then, I hope we'll continue to enjoy this upcoming week and this year. And of course, as always, it's It's Sankranti Pongal, Bandi Chodnivas, as well, to all those celebrating in India and as part of the Indian diaspora. Do enjoy yourselves and be safe and be happy. And to you as all of you as well, be safe and be happy. Do unto others as you'd have others do unto you, and don't do anything that Mr. B or I wouldn't do. Until then, farewell to thee, goodbye, and God bless to all of you. And if Steve is hungry, then I'm sleepy, so I'm going to call it a night. Good night.
Yeah, good night to you, sir. Have a good one. And this is the link for Warren, by the way, at Warren's Team Talk. So go and follow him there. Please click on that. Brilliant channel. Superb channel. Great bloke. Passionate bloke, like we all are, fans of our teams. And a bit of a slum at the moment, and a bit shit. So, but you know, anyway, please follow me also on Insta down there at Mr. B for Life 182, Mr. B High Football Chat, and Mr. B Chats England Cricket. So follow those. Please sub. I'm getting no subs. I don't know why. I'm not going up. But anyway, if you still like it, still watching, that's all good. And plenty to come. England cricket content, a preview for the City game. That's hopefully tomorrow. And plenty more besides. And but at 2 hours 6, I'm going to call it a day, and we're going to bounce. And till the next one, guys, we're out of here. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.